Every developer I've worked with at some point said, we'll clean it up later. You think later ever comes? One day, you're not shipping features. You're just trying to keep the lights on. That's not a technical problem. That's a trap. Statistically, you're already sitting inside it, and it's slowly closing on you. Ward Cunningham came up with the term technical debt back in 1992. The original idea was pretty simple. Sometimes you take a shortcut. You know it's a shortcut. You plan to fix it later. That's basically a negotiated trade-off. That's fine. That's engineering. But here's what actually happens in most companies. A manager panics about a demo, pushes the team to cut corners. Product ships. Demo goes well. Investors are happy. Then 6 months later, when everything is slow and broken and the team is burning out, someone turns to the engineers and says, why is the code such a mess? The people who created the debt are blaming the people who inherited it. That sound familiar? Like a typical Tuesday? Why should you care? If you don't understand how debt actually piles up, you'll spend your whole career cleaning up other people's shortcuts and getting blamed for the slowdown, and nobody in that story gets promoted. If you're already using DevStats, you got a big advantage. Check out the work breakdown report first. It shows you the difference between writing new code, cleaning up old debt, and fixing mistakes. You can use it to see where you're spinning your wheel. If your rework numbers are high, meaning you're constantly changing code you just finished, it's a sign either your requirements are a mess or your design is bad. On the other hand, refactoring just means you're finally paying for the debt that you took earlier. I guess in other words, it means later it finally got here. Another one you should check out is the engineering investment report. Use the keep the lights on metric to see exactly how much of your team's energy is being wasted. It shows you how maintenance and bug fixes are killing your capacity because you didn't deal with your technical debt when you should have. Food for thought. If you want to check out DevStat, there's a link here. There's also another link down here. Check them out. Great people with an awesome product. Let's talk numbers, because this is where the stuff gets really serious. By the way, if you ever wonder where I get my numbers from, check out the description. I'll link it to the article that I publish that has all the links to all the sites that I use for my numbers. Technical debt costs the U.S. economy over $2 trillion a year. Not billion, trillion. The average dev spends more than 13 hours every week just dealing with it. That's a third of their working life. Not building, not shipping, just trying to fix bad decisions someone else made and never wrote down. In a medium-sized company, that annual drain from unmanaged debt is somewhere between $5 and $10 million a year. Figure about 1/3 in your company's dev salary. If your dev team costs $3 million in salaries, you're probably burning about $1 million of that on work that's essentially zero new business value. Zero. Here's the number I want you to sit with. In some organizations, 87% of engineering time goes to maintenance. 13% goes to building new things. 87 to 13. That's not an engineering team. That's a life support machine for bad decisions. And it gets worse when you add AI. A huge chunk of developers in the 2025 Stack Overflow survey said their biggest frustration is AI-generated code. That's almost right, but not quite. Almost right is the worst kind of death because it looks like it works. It passes a quick review, gets merged. 3 months later, someone is debugging something nobody understands because the AI suggested some way that everybody stopped using about 2 years ago. For some reason, nobody remembers. And almost half of AI-generated code introduces security vulnerabilities. Not sometimes, almost 50% of the time. So you're moving faster and digging faster at the same time. Let me tell you about Southwest Airlines. December 2022, a storm hits. Every major airline recovers in 2 to 3 days. Southwest canceled over 16,000 flights across 10 days. Not 16,000 passengers, 16,000 flights. That's 2 million passengers stranded. Over $800 million gone. That storm didn't cause the problem. The storm just showed everyone what was already there. The real cause? It was a crew scheduling system called SkySolver, built in the 90s. The pilots union had been warning management about it for years. Management treated it like a piece of equipment that would just keep running forever. They skipped roughly $100 million in infrastructure over a decade, so they paid $800 million in 10 days. That's what technical debt actually costs. Not just slower sprints, not just annoyed developers. Sometimes it's an existential event that plays out on national television while your customers are sleeping on airport floors. And the debt that killed Southwest wasn't visible on any balance sheet. It was infrastructure debt, the kind that lives below the application layer, the kind that looks free until it becomes fatal. Oh, and I'm sure taking that $800 million loss, they still had to pay to fix the software anyways. So how do you actually handle this? Not in some perfect world, in your world, where you've got deadlines and a product roadmap and some manager who thinks refactoring is just polishing something that already works just fine. First, not all debt is the same. There's a real difference between debt you chose and debt that just happened. Strategic debt is a decision. A startup cutting corners to reach product market fit before they run out of money. That's not a bad decision. That's survival. The big risk for an early stage company isn't bad code. It's no market demand. If you spend 6 months building a clean architecture for a product nobody wants, that clean code is actually a waste. Reckless debt is different. Shortcuts without understanding future costs. No documentation. No intention of paying anything back. Debt that gets inherited by the next engineer who has no idea why the system works the way that it does. Before you all try to light me on fire in the comments, you need to understand this. The goal isn't zero debt. Zero debt will kill your ability to move. The goal is managed debt, where the interest rate is lower than your growth rate. Second, you need a way to pay it back without blowing everything up. There's a method called the Mikado method. It's pretty simple. When you try to clean up something that's complicated, you don't just start changing things all over the place based on your feelings. You pick a small goal, you try to change, you let it break, you revert to everything. Then you map what broke. You draw a picture of the dependencies. Start fixing from the outside in, small steps. The system stays shippable the whole time. This is important because the alternative is what developers call the software hydra. You fix one thing, 2 things break. You fix those, 4 more show up. You're 3 weeks into a cleanup, nothing works, and you're getting nowhere fast. The Mikado method stops that from happening. There's also the Strangler fig patterns for when you need to replace a whole system. It's named after a plant that grows around a tree and just takes over. You build a new system with the old one. New features go into the new architecture. Old features get moved over gradually. No big bang cutover. No week where everything is down. The old system just slowly gets coded out of existence. Third, measure the right things. DORA metrics exist for exactly this. Lead time for changes, deployment frequency, change failure rate, mean time to recovery. When debt is piling up, these numbers, they move in the wrong direction before anything catastrophic happens. They're your early warning system. If your lead time is growing and your change failure rate is growing, you don't have a pipeline problem. You have a debt problem, and you need to name it that way in front of leadership. And you guys that are going to try to light me on fire again, that management doesn't care, understand this. Technical debt isn't a technical conversation. It's a financial one. Developers lose the argument every damn time because they try to talk about some code smell or architectural purity, basically stuff that you folks all read about in a book. You don't win an argument like that because you're basically using words that they don't even understand. But when you say that you're burning $1 million on maintenance and you're producing nothing, and if we don't deal with it, we're like one bad day away from our own Southwest Airlines moment, that's a very different conversation. The organizations that get this right put 15 to 25% of their IT budget in technical debt cleanup. Not because it's a luxury, it's a budget. Because they've done the math. Deal with the debt and you get real productivity gains. You ship new features faster. That's the return on fixing the foundation. You don't handle the debt and your next option is to rewrite everything. No matter how good you think your team is, trust me, that's even more expensive and it'll take even longer. I've made that mistake twice. Here's where most teams are. They're spending the majority of their time maintaining a system that was built under pressure by people that are no longer there, for requirements that no longer exist. And every time they try to fix it, they get told to focus on new features instead. Then one day, that storm comes. Not some metaphor, something real. A breach, an outage, a competitor who ships 3 times faster because they paid their debt and you didn't. At that point, it's not a technical discussion. It's too late for that.